If you do not think God as a motley score, with his prayer book as you enter the room, please step outside and grab the prayer book very quickly. We'll be referring to it off and on during the service. And if after the service you can put it back into the basket, we would appreciate it. We've all come here this morning from a variety of locations. We've all come here and we've had other thoughts in our minds besides Mike. But now's the time to focus completely on him because we have come here today to remember Michael Reiter. So whatever you might have been thinking about on the drive over, the errands you need to do, the people you might need to talk to later today or tomorrow, let's take a moment and, not focus on those things. Let's take a moment and focus on Michael. And we're going to do this by stilling our bodies for a moment and taking a deep breath in. Holding it, letting it out. Another deep breath in, holding it, letting it out. On this breath in, imagine Michael's presence. A deep breath in, holding it, and letting it out. We begin our service on page 13 with Eli, Eli. Oh God, my God, I pray that these things never end. The sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayers of God. Mike, he was memorable. Well, I won't claim he came to temple every Friday night. I do remember him coming to me often with a suggestion or a good word after a service or in the middle of a poker hand during our annual poker tournament. His words were always meant to help, to assist, to make better. That was Mike. His mind was always trying to find ways to improve whatever was around him, what was ever before him. He was a man whose mind never stopped. Mike was so many things during his time on this earth. A son to Phyllis and Alvin, a brother to Howard and Hal, a husband of 44 years to Kathy, a father to Rachel and her husband Brandon, Lorraine, and Dylan, a grandfather to Bailey, Tanner, Kellen, Casey, Harvey, and Louise. He was a mechanic by training, but he became a successful entrepreneur. He collected cars or really anything that had a pair of wheels to it or set of wheels. But he was also a teacher and a trainer. He was a man who loved to go camping, though he preferred RVs over tents. And he would cheer at NASCAR races. And he definitely loved his boat in Lake Havasu. When he watched TV, his interest went towards Seinfeld, The Simpsons, Married with Children, and MASH, and I think we shared similar TV interests. And when it came to food, Chinese topped his list, but he was also a fan of pizza, chicken Kiev, and onion bagels. But when you speak about food, you have to mention Diet Coke, Diet Pepsi, excuse me, and its relationship to Mike. As I learned yesterday, he only drank in a glass with 2 cubes of something. 2 cubes of ice. His family described him, and we all knew him as a man with an entrepreneurial spirit, a leader, a mentor, a family man, and a person with the biggest of hearts. In just a few days, we'll be celebrating the holiday of Hanukkah. And in each of our homes, we'll have a Hanukkah, Hanukkah menorah, and it has 8 candles for the 8 days of Hanukkah, but then it has a 9th candle. And this 9th candle is called the Shamash, the helper candle. And we light it first. And this candle has responsibility for lighting other candles, for helping bring out the light in the other candles. Now, as I was thinking about Mike, as I was thinking about Hanukkah, I realized that Mike was a man whose energy helped others shine bright. His nature, spirit, and drive are really represented by that shamash, by that helper candle. May the fire we live in so many be passed on to future generations. So while our hearts are filled with sorrow at his passing, and also filled with the knowledge that he lived life as fully as he could, loving his family and helping others through his entire story. And today we gather. We gather so that we are not alone in our mourning. We come together as family, as friends, as community, and we plant the seeds of memory. They might be watered by our tears. They might be supported by our laughter. For the length of this memorial service, we are a community who has come together to share our pain, our love, and our stories. We come together to honor Mike Reiter, and to remember how much he gave each one of us. So I now take a moment to light a memorial candle. This candle represents Mike's presence at today's service. I'm going to ask the family members who are wearing black ribbons to please rise. These ribbons represent their hearts. And the idea is they wear these ribbons for the next 30 days over the course of Shloshim, the traditional mourning period within Judaism. And wherever they go, people will know that their hearts are broken. And so if you are short with people, or if you're not focused, they will give you, support, encouragement, cut you a little slack, knowing that your heart is broken and needs, that you need comfort. Baruch atah Adonai, Nayan Hamet. Blessed are you, Adonai, the judge of eternal truth. Together we all say, Amen. You may be seated. While we're here to remember Mike, we also take a moment at this point, because the ribbons have just been torn, to say a prayer for the family. We say a Misha Berach prayer. Misha Berach is a prayer of healing. And obviously we're not saying a healing prayer for Mike, even though he was on our healing prayer list for quite a while before he passed. This healing prayer isn't just for physical ailments, it's for emotional ailments also, for spiritual ailments. And so today we say we should bear off for the entire family, for the primary mourners whose ribbons were ripped, but for everyone who was related to Mike. We should bear off Timothy. May the God of our ancestors give you strength as you move forward in your mourning. May your hearts, which are now broken, be whole again one day. And may you always remember Mike with the fondest of memories. Together we say, Amen. The singing we shall bear off. Let's turn to page 10 in our books, and let's be responsibly. Page 10. Adonai Roi, God is my shepherd. Lo exar, I shall not want. Right now we do want. We want the laughter, smiles, and spirits of those who have gone before us, because our hearts are broken, because our lives will never be the same. The cycle of life and death makes no sense. Where is our shepherd? Where is our God? Adonai Roi, God is my shepherd. Lo exar, I shall not want. The shepherd cannot control life and death. The shepherd can only care for his flock as best he can. He can love them, attempt to protect them, but ultimately each life is lived by its own design. Adonai Roi, God is my shepherd. Lo exar, I shall not want. Our shepherd has not left us. God is found in the hand that you are holding. God is found in the shoulder upon which you are crying. God is found in the comfort we give to one another. God is found in memories. God is present not to shield us from pain, but to help us pass through it. God is my Roi. God is my shepherd. Adonai Roi, God is my shepherd. Lo exar, I shall not want. And now the singing, the 23rd Psalm on page 11. Adonai Lo exar, The heart of every memorial service are eulogies. The Hebrew word for eulogy is hesped. And the idea of the hesped is to talk about the deceased, to raise up his spirit in all of our hearts, to speak about the good that he did. And there's a 16th century text called the Shulchan Aruch that speaks about, that teaches us about hesped, how we should do a eulogy. And it says you talk about the good and then you're allowed to lie by about 10%. The example I love to give is you can't say that he was a great chef if he didn't know how to cook. But if you know how to boil an egg, you just say he made the best boiled egg you've ever had. So we're allowed to look at the good and elevate. Because that's what we want to do today, is to remember all that Michael has given us. And so today we have 4 speakers who will be joining us on the Bima. Our first speaker is his good friend, Steve Simons.
Thank you, Rabbi. When I first was asked to speak, I had to think hard about what I wanted to say because I've only known Mike for a little over 20 years. I met Mike through my son, who was a repossession agent. When my son was growing up, he was a little bit difficult. My wife and I would always pray, Father, put someone in his path to take care of him. Be there when we cannot be. And then I learned Mike was that person. Mike became the second father to my son, who was around when I could not be. And through my son, I met Mike and became very good friends. Mike and I loved each other very much. I also met Rachel and Lorraine and Kathy through Mike. I met them at the tow yard where they worked. I first saw Rachel after she came back from college, 2006. She came back from Potsdam, New York with her degree. I then met Lorraine when she was 18, working at the tow yard after she graduated from Elgin, Ohio. And the first time I saw Lorraine, I don't mean to slight you, Rachel, but the first time I saw Lorraine, she was sitting there, I go, who's that good-looking young lady there? And Mike said, it's my daughter. I'm like, okay, that's why you talk to her the way you talk to her. Because you don't talk to employees the way Mike would talk to Lorraine. And then when Rachel was working there, I'd see the same interaction going on. I knew that was the daughter, that that's how they communicated, how they worked. Kathy was always, when I would come to the yard or when we would get together, Kathy was always someone special. But there's a story I'll share with you right now. Because I couldn't always be there for my kids. Mike couldn't always be the one to understand what his kids were doing, what his wife was doing. So there were always times when Mike would call me or I would call Mike, And he said, what am I going to do about, you can fill in the blank. Kathy, Rachel, Lorraine, Maria, Chris, Steve. Just fill in that blank. And we would talk. And we would talk. And we talked some more. And at one point, one of us would say to the other, this conversation never happened. And the response was always, what conversation? That was a relationship with Mike. If I needed Mike, I'd pick up the phone. If Mike needed me, he'd call me. And invariably, the last 5 years, Mike would call me and say, we got to get to dinner. We got to go to dinner. Mike enjoyed bringing Kathy, Maria, our friend Stan, and going to Fleming's down when we were little. Topanga. Sorry, Topanga. We'd go to CF Foods in Granada Hills. And we go other places for dinner. And then I have the extreme pleasure of going to Vietnam with Mike and Kathy, my wife, for my son's wedding. And Mike was the father there as well. Being with me so that we could both support my son, and we could support those there. And Mike was generous. He would never allow me to pay for a meal. He would insist that at the very least, we split it evenly. And even when I would lie to him and tell him it was only $100, he wouldn't believe me. He had to make sure that we were square because we were equal friends and he didn't want me to do something. Now, when the girls asked me to speak, I said, how long do you want me to speak? Now, first I asked how long the service was going to last. And they said, it depends on how long you're going to speak. I said, well, I don't know, I can speak forever. But I'll try and keep it a little bit shorter because there's one other thing I want to add. There's a poem out there by Emily Lewis called The Dash. Some of you may have heard about it. And the dash is that point that speaks between your date of birth and your date of death. And all the things that go in there. We're going to gather in a little while. We're going to be sitting and talking. I'd like you to share your memories of the dash that represent Michael Reiter to you. Because I have many more that I could share. I have the Repo Rodeo shirt on. If you don't know what the Repo Rodeo was, you need to ask somebody. Because it was a special time. It was one of the times where Mike excelled in teaching repo agents and teaching repo companies how to do things. Mike and Hal built tow trucks and repo trucks. But Mike was a great supporter. And I'll end with this last thing. Mike was generous to a fault. In 2005, we were at an event, and we heard that a repo agent had been injured doing a repossession. Mike was asked to speak to people. Mike walked around the room with a microphone, telling people about this person, and telling people we needed to raise some money. When Mike was gone, after about a half an hour, over $10,000 had been raised for this repo agent. Mike would do that consistently because Mike loved people, Mike helped people, and Mike taught people. At the risk of stepping on toes, because I'm sorry, I'm Baptist, I didn't know the procedure all that well. But I will say in my closing, may God counsel you among the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem, and in memory of Mike, whom we all love, down this blessing. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and give you grace. Thank you.
Our next speaker will be David Beeson.
Rachel and I met in 3rd grade, and our friendship grew from there. We went to school together, were in Girl Scouts together, and pretty much did everything together. Some of my fondest memories come from the times I spent with the Reiter family. I can still picture us heading out on family vacations to the river, the excitement in the air as we all piled into the RV for another weekend of fun and adventure together. Whether we were out on the water, soaking in the sun, or racing around on the sand rails, Mike was always there, leading the way, laughing and making sure everyone was having a good time. I can still hear him screaming, "Rachel, back! You are never going to make it up that hill if you don't start from back there. Or if you are going to do it that way, you're going to bury the rail." And then, sure enough, there we were, buried in the sand. Mike was the kind of person who didn't need to be asked to help. He just did. I can't even count how many times I saw him helping people. When my dad got sick and was going to come home from the hospital in a wheelchair, we couldn't figure out how we would ever be able to get him into the house, as we had 2 steps at the front door. Next thing we knew, Mike was there looking from a huge wood ramp and Kathy that lasted years and years for my dad to use. I saw Mike help his employees and their families, our schools, our Girl Scout troops, our friends, and the list goes on. He didn't just give help, he gave it with love, with care, and never wanted any recognition that went along with it. I also was able to see the amount of admiration that people had for him in the tow industry. When we went to tow shows, people always looked to Mike for help and advice. He was always one of the people that people always looked for at those shows. I remember him always telling Rachel, Marie, and I to behave ourselves when we went there because he wanted to make sure we didn't do anything to embarrass him. Whenever Rachel or Marie wanted to go somewhere, they would just tell Mike and Kathy that I was going, and I would give them an automatic pass to get to whatever they wanted to do because Mike and Kathy knew I would keep them out of trouble. He always had faith. Growing up alongside Rachel, I never once felt an outsider in their family. Mike welcomed me with open arms and always knew I could count on him, whether it was for advice, a helping hand, or just a friendly chat. He was like a second father to me, steady, reliable, full of love. I remember our friends being scared of Mike. I never understood that because he was always like a teddy bear. I would always say to him, "They might be scared of you, but I'm not scared of you." He would always say, "Well, you should be," and I'm not. The way he loved and cared for his family was nothing short of inspiring. When Rachel was in her car accident, I remember sitting outside the operating room right after getting to the hospital and him looking at me and shaking his head, telling me, "Dana, it isn't good. She isn't going to make it." I think that was the only time I ever raised my voice to him and told him, "You're wrong. You're wrong, Mike. She will. She is so strong. She has to. We can't do this without her." I knew at that moment that if anything happened to Rachel, Mike would never be the same. He literally did everything in his power to make sure she would have anything and everything she needed to recover. The whole Reiter family pulled together to make sure that Rachel would be okay. And I think that helped me recover too. It's hard to put into words the sadness that I feel because of his passing, but I know that Mike's legacy will live on in the way he touched each of our lives. His love, his laughter, and his willingness to help will never be forgotten. I will carry the lessons he taught me, the warmth of his friendship, and the memories we shared forever. Mike, you will be missed. Thank you for being a father figure, a friend, and an unwavering source of support. Your love and kindness have left a mark on my heart that will never fade. I'm grateful for all the moments we shared, for all the times you were there for me, and for being a part of my life. Rest in peace, Mike. You are truly one of a kind, and your memory will continue to inspire and guide us. I'm glad you are not in pain or suffering anymore. I love you.
Our next speaker will be his daughter, Lorraine.
setbacks and obstacles that were thrown at me, my parents were always a foundational component I could rely on. As my dad passed, I repeated several times, "It's okay, Dad. Rachel and I have this work. It's okay, we got this." This phrase seemed to give me comfort, and we could see his calming breath and demeanor after we spoke these words. Many people knew my dad as a challenging person, and I won't say he wasn't. But I will say that he never stopped learning and trying to be the best version of himself. In his later years, this is what I respect he goes to talk. A few weeks ago, he expressed himself using a saying we would say at home to hear each other, which is, "I used my words." I watched my sister smile and acknowledge that he had in fact shared his feelings and was looking for respect on the receiving end. At nearly 40, I was humbled by my dad's growth. I posted a few shots on Facebook, okay, probably more than a few, of my favorite memories, including all the adventures we had, and I'm so grateful for the time we had together. Which brings me to the memory of when I suggested him and Mom go to Tahiti with me. I had every intention of going, regardless of if they came. My comment to my dad was that as a family, we used to travel all the time, and they needed a vacation. And away we went. My dad and I had many adventures. New Orleans for my 30th birthday, Tahiti 2017, West Europe 2018, Lamis 2020 and too many times to count, as well as Havasu, Rochester for Amy and Miles' wedding, Ohio for Lily's 90th, and the trips that we were looking forward to, including Belize, Greece, and Ohio again. Dear Dad, remember that time when I lost you and Mom in Germany and texted you from a stranger's phone to meet me at the gate? We were so annoyed with each other. When I lost you and Mom in Amsterdam, my yelling in the middle of the terminal, the cable wasn't working at home, and the stream would say, "Please wait," which was then our saying for each other for a long time. When I borrowed Mom's truck in high school and went off roading, and you guys ordered me into Giuseppe's for me to confess my sins. When I paid you $20 to borrow your car for the last 3 years, and then Mom rolled it. When I brought the quad back job done without a flag, and you knew that I rolled that. When I had to call 911 because we tried to take off before but couldn't. And then it was always my fault whenever we had to call 911. We were driving cross country, and you didn't have the brakes hooked up on the trailer. The Highway 40 was snowed in at Flagstaff. You looked over at me and told me to put my seatbelt on because we were living on the edge. You fixed the bus in Holland because you're a great mechanic and we were stuck. When the tire on the Sandro rolled down the hill in front of us, that was not so fun. We were in Belgium and created the talking stick because everybody was talking and excited about the conversation and we needed to have some order. During hospice, I slept in the chair next to you and woke up with your blanket on me and you were MIA. The reality is I'm so grateful for our time together with a hand up. You created the building blocks of career and personality. You empathized with me when I was tired and created a place where I could be my true self. You opened your arms to my dearest friends and created this safe space to congregate. I hope you know that you did a good job. There's nothing more to do but rest. I love you.
And our final speaker will be his daughter, Rachel.
Dearest Dad, this journey we shared has been full of ups and downs, but through it all we stood together
as one family. I remember so vividly the small yet meaningful rituals of our lives. Sitting in the front room, waiting for you to come home so we can prepare your favorite drink, 2 fresh ice cubes and Diet Pepsi in your glass, before gathering around the table with a homemade dinner by Mom every single night. I'll never forget the first time I rode in the tow truck with you. Watching you work through the back window as you loaded the car onto the truck, and I was mesmerized. Little did I know one of those cars would be mine one day. My beloved Blue Beetle. And I digress. One evening, on our way home from work, when I was like 13, we decided to surprise Mom with flowers. We stopped at West Hills Flowers, and we walked in, journeying from a hard day's work, with only $9 cash in your pocket. I still remember hearing you say in a bold and unforgettable accent, "We got $9 cash." You were quite a character, and the woman behind the counter knew so. Another customer came in, and the shop owner ended up giving us an arrangement worth much more than we could afford with our $9 cash. When you grabbed a card from the stand, I panicked and said, "Dad, we only have $9. He just grinned at me and said, "These are free." That was so you. Always finding a way to bring joy no matter the circumstance. And free was the best thing for him. When I went to college, I was lost at first, unsure which path to take. I called you, and without hesitation, you said, "You love business." I have to declare a major. So I declared business as my major and began my entrepreneurial journey because of your unwavering belief in me. Some of the closest times we shared were when I was alongside you at the towing company. You accomplished so much during those years, earning countless awards from AAA, including the prestigious Service Provider of Excellence, the SPOE Award. I'll never forget how proud you were to accept it. The second time you won it, you even snagged a microphone to thank AAA for believing in you. I recently found the video of Lana presenting the award to you in your email inbox. Such a beautiful reminder of your hard work and pride. When Bailey came along into your life, you became the very best version of yourself. You were the most incredible papa. From letting her steer the boat to taking her to get her nails done, you made every memory magical. You'd answer every FaceTime call, check in to see if she was home from school so you could just stop by for a big hug, and even play pretty princess with her. Bailey told me her favorite memory of you is being on the boat with you, steering proudly in the captain's chair. She loves you so much, Dad. You taught me to see the glass as half full, no matter what. And now here's to a full glass, Dad. Never half empty. Granted, I have it from here. You can rest now. There's nothing more to do and nothing more to say. Just rest. We love
Each of you has a story to tell, I am sure, about Mike. And after this service, we eat a little bit of food. What we're going to do, we're going to open up the microphone. Let everyone tell a story who would like to share one. So please, if you have a story to share, know that you will have a chance later this week. So as I listened to the families, I thought about Mike when I know of him. I decided to write down a series of lessons learned from Mike Reiter. Take your children on adventures, not on vacations. Always answer your rabbi's call when he has a flat tire. Come and go as you are without pretension. I realized the only time I ever saw Mike in a suit was at Rachel's wedding. That was the only time in my life. Always attempt to be the best version of yourself. Never ever let your gas tank fall below a quarter fill. Work hard in order to build a life of which you can be proud. Let your entrepreneurial spirit drive you forward towards success. Be a leader, not a follower. Take pride in your Judaism, even if you only consider yourself Jew-ish. Help those you care about. Infuse every opinion you have with passion. Always remember that money is a tool to bring happiness during a time of need. Mentor others, putting them on the road to success. Be of service, period. And care for your family with all of your might and with all of your spirit. All of these lessons or ideas taught to us by Mike's life, but now Mike is no longer present on earth in physical form. Our bodies are just shrouds, clothing for our souls. And like all clothing, our souls, well, they survive, but our bodies, they wear out like every piece of clothing. But the soul lives on. The soul is what gives shape to that piece of clothing, to that body. And that soul lives on in the stories you tell, the memories you have, the actions that you take that come from Mike. So let's always remember him and what he gave to each one of us. Our cantor is now going to sing Kadashah in honor of Mike and Mike's son.
Didn't I tell you I loved you? Didn't I show you I cared? Didn't you know that you mattered? Wasn't it life that we shared? But time can't take our lives get slipping. Now that this journey is over, somehow it doesn't seem fair. Now there is no one to talk with, no one to walk with and be with. Still everything seems to remind me as if you're behind me, still there. And time keeps ticking. keep our lives keep slipping. Now that our journey is over, somehow it doesn't seem fair. I can't hold the wind, I can't slow the tide, I can't stop the rivers from flowing. I can't hold the tears, I can't slow the ride, I can't stop the seasons from coming and going. I hope that I told you I loved you. I hope that I showed you I cared. I hope that you know that you matter. What a great life we did share. What a great journey we shared.
We turn to page 27 in our prayer books. On page 27, we find the prayer, El Malei Rachamim, of God of mercy. And within this prayer in the Hebrew, we'll see the word Shekhinah. The Shekhinah is the feminine presence of God. And within mystical Judaism, there are 10 aspects of God. And it's pretty much, a graph of God, into what God is. And at the very bottom of this graph, of this layout of God, is the Shekhinah, the feminine aspect. And the idea is that this is the aspect that interacts with us, as we're down here. So when you need comfort, when you need a miracle, the aspect of God's personality that provides that is the comforting, motherly aspect that our rabbis call the Shekhinah. So of course we can create a prayer where we ask that this aspect of God to take my soul, to carry it forward with love and with care. So as we say this prayer, as we sing this prayer, let us think about the kindness that comes from all that is holy. We're going to rise, please. And we're going to read the English together at the bottom of page 27. And then after we read the English, we are going to remain standing as our cantorial soloist chants El Malei Rachamim. Let us read together at the bottom. When we come to the name, let us simply say, Mike. Together. O compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant complete rest in your sheltering presence tonight, who has entered eternity. Master of motherly love, sheltered by your divine wings, may he be bound up in the bond of eternal life. The eternal God is his inheritance. May he rest in peace. Amen. Sing El Malei
El Malei Rachamim, Shochen Baromim, המצאנך נכונה, תחת כנפי השכינה. אם קדושים וטהורים, כזוהר הרקיע, מזהירים. את נשמת מיכאל יעקב בן פשר וחזקאל, שלח לעולמו. בעל הרחמים, יתרו החיים ונשמתו. אדוני הוא נחלתו, ואנוה בשלום על משכבו. ולומר אמן.
We remain standing. We turn to page 41 in our prayer book, The Mourner's Cottage. This is the first time we officially say The Mourner's Cottage for Mike. The Mourner's Cottage is an interesting prayer to say over someone who's just passed. The idea of this prayer is to remember the deceased, but if you look at the words of the prayer in English, it speaks about God, holiness, all of the amazing wonders around us. So even as we say this prayer with a heavy heart, thinking about Mike, our words speak about a better world, about goodness and holiness. And perhaps that's the lesson we are supposed to learn. Even as we mourn someone, even as our hearts are heavy and our words are heavy, we need to look forward, to move ahead, because that's what the deceased would want from us. So we turn to page 41. We say these words and speak about God, and we think about life. We imagine Him, and we say this prayer to honor His soul. Please join me, page 41. Yitgadal v'yitgadal shmei Rabbah, v'amad yivrach v'yutei v'yamed malchutei, v'chayachon v'yimachon v'yed v'kol beit Yisrael, v'agalav yizman karev v'yimru. Yehi shmei Rabbah barak le'olam u'lamei amayah. Yitbarach v'yishrach, yitbarach v'yinumah v'yitchaseh, yitadar v'yitoleh v'yitolal shmei v'yusha v'yitoleh. Leila Miko Birkata Shirata, Shishakata V'Nekhamata, Namirat V'Allah V'Yirumani, Yehi Shmar Rama Mishmaya, V'Hayim Malenya V'Alko Yisrael V'Yirumani, Oseh Shalom V'Yirumah, Uyaseh Shalom, Alenya V'Alko Yisrael, V'Alko Yoshvei Kizah, V'Yirumani. May the one who makes peace on high grant peace to all who mourn, to all Israel, and to all humankind. Together we say, Amen. Close your books, put your arms around the people next to you. We're going to conclude this memorial service with Oseh Shalom, a song of peace, a song of comfort, so we begin to give each other comfort. After the singing of the song, there is a luncheon in the next room, and afterwards we will share stories. And on your way out, please put your books in the basket. Oseh Shalom.
Oseh Shalom B'Romah, Uyaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'Kol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'Kol Yisrael. 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 Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'Kol Yisrael.
family go into the social hall first, so they're not locked in place here. You can offer your consolations to them in the social hall. Perhaps you can even push them to making sure they get a little food in their bellies. Often mourners don't find themselves eating. Please follow them out. This concludes our service.